of MASSAP, Ledo Mite, will be joining us also online, and we'll be looking at the big issue concerning the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project, HYPREP, as well as issues relating to Ogoni. And of course, we'll be talking about the big question about the Ogoni governorship. And also, we'll be having representative of HYPREP, we'll be having a project coordinator of HYPREP join us. It's going to be a power-packed program this morning. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank, and Point Blank returns shortly after this break.
Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in Rivers State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government is supporting us or not. Because if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Goodluck Jonathan borrowed for Abuja Kaduna. At the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Shegun Awolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
And once again, thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. So, we'll be looking at issues relating to the politics of Rivers State. And my guest is joining us. And thank you so much for joining us, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, for the benefit of those who may not know, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze is a prominent member of the All Progressives Congress, APC Rivers State. He's a veteran journalist. Chief Chukwuemeka Eze was a founding member of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State in 1998. At various times, he was the National Director of Strategy, Planning, and also Frontline Movement and Publicity Secretary of the now defunct New People's Democratic Party. He was also the Publicity Secretary of the Rivers State Action Congress and also the media consultant to Princeville Associate, that is Tony Princeville. He was the National Publicity Secretary of the defunct National New People's Democratic Party, NPP, and currently a member of the All Progressive Congress, APC, the ruling party of Nigeria. And severally, he's been working with the Turaki Adamawa, and that is talking about the People's Democratic Party standard bearer, Atiku Abubakar. And Emeka Eze is also a member of the Adamawa State Seed Formulation Committee and Chairman Adamawa State Wrestling Association. But above all, he's a journalist and also a politician of standing repute. Chief Emeka Eze, thank you for joining us this morning.
It is great hearing your powerful voice, Shegun Awolabi. Greeting to all Rivers State people. It has been a long time seeing your beautiful face. God bless you, sir.
Fantastic. So we'll be looking at the political situation in Rivers State, and Chief Emeka Eze has been one journalist who has been writing articles and publications about the political situation in Rivers State. And of course, he's talked about issues relating to the People's Democratic Party, issues relating to governance in Nigeria, and issues relating to his own political party, the APC. Now, so much is happening in the politics of Rivers State. Now, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze, let us just go straight to it. Recently, loads of members of your party, the All Progressives Congress, decided to, well, you cross carpet and join the People's Democratic Party. Again, for those who have been following your write-up, this may not be a surprise because you seem to have that kind of prophetic writing because you have warned in the part of some of these things that are happening. But again, one strange thing that a lot of people are finding difficult to understand, even in your writing, is the fact that you seem to be unrepentant, a supporter of Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, and you don't see any blame with the leadership of Rotimi Chibuike Amaechi. Even in one of your articles, you said, when you were asked what is going in your party, you said, and I quote you, should Amaechi kill himself? So tell us, what do you think the problem is in your party? What is the solution? And why do you think the problem is not on the leadership style of Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi?
You see, the problem of Rivers State APC started as far back as 2014, when we decided to select or elect Dakuku Peter side. That was the foundation of the problem. Magnum Sebe seems to be the flag bearer of the opposition to the stability of APC in Rivers State. He feels that he is the right person to fly the flag of APC by 2015, and it did not happen so. So most of the people that you saw, the camping with him or staying back to ensure that APC does not progress in Rivers State. We are the same people that ensured that we could not win the 2015 gubernatorial election in Rivers State. What did they do? By the time Amechi called them and pleaded with them, look, I'm going to the national. There's every possibility that I will be carried along at national politics. Do your best and see what you can do in order to ensure that the Rivers State governance does not go into a wrong hand. All of us were there. Dakuku was there. Magnus Abe was there. All the stakeholders were there. Ikaya was there. All of them were there. I pleaded, begged them. And then the sad side of the whole thing is that when they were mobilized to move to their various units or local governments in order to mobilize people to vote APC, most of them stayed back in Port Harcourt and then allow Wike to succeed in all that he has planned and then took over power. That was the foundation of the problem. And since that time, those people that kept themselves in Port Harcourt without going to the various states or local government, or units in order to mobilize people to vote for APC, we are the same people that decamped at the initial time back to PDP because they had the game plan. It is either Magnus Abe or there is no APC. And by 2015, they perfected their act. They perfected it so much that we could not even participate in that election. Now, the question one we should be asking ourselves, what exactly has Amechi done wrong to warrant these people that have been with him for the past 24 years? Because most of them were with him when he was speaker. Most of them were with him when he was governor. Most of them were with him when he was minister. Then why are they leaving? They are leaving because they feel that they have matured, they are of age to handle their own political destiny. And in that case, nobody should blame them. But should they go out and blame Amechi for what they are doing? I think that is where I feel bad about the whole thing. You are a man, you have matured, you can handle your political distinction by yourself, but to blame somebody else for what you are doing is totally wrong. And again, the truth of the matter is that when some of them feel that Amechi can no longer provide what he used to provide to them when he was governor, then they feel that the best thing is for them to get out. Fine. Now, what some of us should be asking ourselves is that when Amechi was minister, why should these people not leave? When he was contesting for the presidential bid of APC, why were they not leaving? Now, in their calculation and in their mind, Amechi is no longer politically relevant. And what are they saying with him? Now, they left. In my own calculation, I see all these things as God working for APC. Most of these people were inside APC, working against APC, and pretending to be APC members, why they are working for outside forces in Lagos, outside forces in River State, working for them. And by the time, as God will have it, God provided a platform and ensured that all their calculations and plots and plans will not work by 2023. And what did they say? They now have to leave to join other political party, SDP, any other party that they feel that they can be taken care of. So in all these happenings, the problem that Amaechi we say that we have with them is that he is no longer capable, he is no longer in position in order to continue to respect them, in order to pay for their accommodation, in order for him to pay their children's school fees. He's an individual. He's a human being. He's not God that can now look at everybody's problem and then cater for such problems. Even God himself, select those that is going to attend or assist. So in their calculation, Amaechi is down. And if he's down, then what are we following him for? But some of us that are still sticking with him, we are sticking with him because we know that God's favor is with him. That no matter whatever may be the plot and plans of the agents of darkness against him, he will survive. And the only problem again that some of us that are sticking with him at the moment will be having is that when these people that have left, when Amaechi now become relevant, they will still come back. And Amaechi will give them positions to the detriment of those that are struggling with him. That is the only challenge. But some of us that are with him, we are with him not because of what we are going to get or gain. We are with him on principle. We are with him that this is a man that has the good intention, not only for River State, but for Nigeria. But when somebody has such good intention, there will be forces against him. And those forces does not want the goodness, the progress of River State. And they will do everything in order to pull him down. But they cannot pull down somebody that has the grace of God. And it is that grace of God that those of us who are children of God have seen, and God has directed us that we should follow this man. We should follow him no matter whatever may be the challenges.
Well, fantastic.
Follow him no matter whatever may be. Yes.
Well, fantastic, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze, and very clear points you have there. And I will still come back to all of that. Now, if you just tune in, you're listening to Point Blank, and I'm speaking to Chief Chukwuemeka Eze. He's a journalist, a prolific writer. He was a founding member of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State way back 1988. He's also a member of the APC, as a staunch member of the APC. He was a former national publicity secretary of the New People's Democratic Party, which is now defunct. He was also a former publicity secretary of the River State Action Congress, which is also defunct. But again, one thing that is very clear is the fact that Chukwuemeka Eze has been very true to his pen, in the sense that he writes concerning issues in River State, in the People's Democratic Party, not even sparing his own All Progressives Congress party, which he belongs to. He writes and is very, very critical in his view. And we're taking on Chief Chukwuemeka Eze, who is joining us online. And the audio may be a little bit low. And Chief Chukwuemeka Eze, you might just help us by speaking up a little bit. But again, if you must join us, join the conversation. We are live on Facebook. You can join us and watch this discussion live on Facebook on Super FM 93.3 FM. Watch it live on Super FM on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. You can watch this discussion live on YouTube, or simply download our app on your Play Store. Download Super FM Global app and also follow us live and drop comment. We will definitely open the telephone line. But again, Chukwuemeka Eze, when you were talking about it, some of you have decided to follow Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. I remember several years ago, you also spoke these about some of your colleagues now, whom you said, well, they felt it is finished for Right Honorable Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi. And in your reaction to the resignation of the former spokesperson of your party in River State, that is talking about Dr. Chris Feinborn, this is what you said, and I quote you. You said, I hardly pity him. even as I pray for him to survive the mess he has gotten himself into. Two questions there. Why would you pity a man that said, well, I am now enjoying the best of my political career? And again, why would you describe his move to People's Democratic Party as a mess?
Now, Shekun, you have defined me right from Adamawa State. You have tried to expose what I've been. Now, when you now, all that you have had me saying, or what I have said in the past, now today, I'm now saying things contrary to it. How do you describe me? Fanbone, we have been in this struggle right from the foundation. We have been with Amechi right from the foundation. Now, for you now to turn over after 8 years or so, and now say that you have been in darkness, you have been blind. Now you are seeing. Doesn't this sound funny? Wike, even a day to his joining Wike, condemn Wike that is the cause of the outbreak of measles in part of Rivers State. He has said a lot of ugly things about Wike and his administration. He has condemned him in his ability to pay the pensioners. He has condemned him in his ability to pay salaries well too. Now, this man that you have been condemning in the past, today has become the Messiah. How do you describe such a person? So that is why I say I pity him. I pity him in the sense that I'm not so sure that he's doing all these things in his right frame of mind. But if he's doing it in that frame of mind, then that means that while in APC, he was not actually working for APC. While in APC, all those things that he was saying against Wike was probably in order to attract the attention of Wike. So when a man at that age and standard cannot, stand by what he has said in the past, for me, such a person, need to be looked at critically. And boom, for me, is totally immersed by the decision that he has taken. He needs our pity. He needs our prayers. I have continued to pray for him that God will help him. And the type of disappointment that he has given to some of us that are very close to him, his associates and all these things, he cannot quantify it. And then if you truly love such a character or person, what do? You pray for him, and that's what we are doing. Because for such, and that is why in my statement, if you remember, I also praise Governor Wike.
Okay.
I praise him that it's just like all that I've been. Tomorrow and I say, Wike, you are Messiah, you are wonderful. Wike, for me, in Rivers State politics, after I met you, Wike is the next person that truly loved me to his heart. Because the records are there, the facts are there. Even while we are under Amechi and all this is, he looked at me not only as a brother, he has done everything in order to attract me to his side. But his type of politics is not what, at my age, I can accommodate.
And talking about that, Chukwuemeka, if I may come in, talking about that, when you talk about the kind of politics of Governor Ezekwesili Nweke, again, that brings to my remembrance a statement made by former Communication Minister Adebayo Shitu, who described Wike as a tactician. Adebayo Shitu further said that the ruling All Progressives Congress will be so happy to have Governor Ezekwesili Nweke in it. But again, in your reaction and in the statement you published, you described the comments made by Adebayo Shitu as one that is disparaging the personality of the former Minister of Transportation. But again, you are also praising Wike here to say, well, yes, Wike to you is one of the best politicians in Rivers State. Isn't this a double standard? Why would you criticize the comments made by Adebayo Shitu that Wike is a political tactician?
Well, you see, now why I'm praising Wike is that he didn't allow me to conclude. I was praising Wike that people who yesterday were at his neck, we are condemning him. If, frankly speaking, before God and man, I'm telling you that even some of people that have become to him have wished him death. Those people that are rejoicing with him from APC have wished him death. Because I remember communicating with one of them and said, he told me that Wike is sick and all this things. I said, we should pray for him to survive. Let nothing happen to him. Let him live and see the end of what he has started. And he said, God forbid, that he will prepare him to die. So for Wike to accommodate such people back, control to feed them, control to attend to them, tolerate whatever they are doing and all this things, for me, he's a superhuman being. I cannot, for me, not money that I'm a Christian, accept people who wish me death yesterday, and I will now come and give them food and this thing. That is what is expected of every Christian. Wike has supersede that area. And that is why I'm praising him. I'm not praising him for his type of politics. Because his politics is type intimidation. He doesn't believe in fair play. And that is why he's going to court, looking for how he can disqualify other candidates in order for him to allow his candidate, whom he knows that under normal this thing, when compared with other candidates that are vying for that particular problem, that man is not even qualified to be an SA to any of them.
So why do you think he's not qualified, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze? Why do you think
he's not qualified? Well, he's not a politician. What earned him that position was just because he was in under Amaechi and giving information to Wike and all these things, and then that qualified him to be governor. Is that right? Are we not aware of that EFCC is looking for him? Is that qualifies him to be a governor?
But again, we are also aware of the perpetual injunction. We're also aware of the perpetual injunction stopping the EFCC from investigating the affairs of River State. And that perpetual injunction has not been nullified. You are aware of that, aren't you?
Whether it is nullified or not, we are human beings. We are from River State. We are watching what is happening. Can somebody go to the bank and collect over billions of naira at a go and all these things, and we now look at that person as being righteous and being right to govern River State? And then when you bring up the issue of a man, now you are in charge of this particular station. How?
Well, yes.
Your age or your SA or your PA. I'm coming, sir. Please, if you just can allow me to.
Yes, go ahead.
Your SA. Now, somebody from outside comes to him to talk about what is happening in the station instead of reporting back to him. How will he feel? Now, River State APC is under Amaechi. How can you come to discuss or liaise with an opponent of Amaechi and you feel that those people that are with Amaechi will be comfortable? She too is promoting the vision of their people, of their group, and we will not allow it. We are all aware of what Wike has done to undermine APC, the progress of APC in River State. And for people that feel that they are members of APC to stand like us and discuss with Wike on how he can now help them, I think that is funny.
Okay, now, fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Point Blank, and Rivers Politics is in perspective this morning, and we're speaking to a veteran journalist and a member of the All Progressives Congress. He's been a member of the People's Democratic Party, actually a founding member of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa. He was also the National Publicity Secretary of the new People's Democratic Party, and he was a founding member of publicity secretary of the Rivers Action Congress, Rivers State Action Congress. Chief Chukwuemeka is speaking to us online, and we're looking at the issue of politics. I'm just going to take him on a particular issue. Now, you talked about alleging that the Rivers State governor is putting up a legal tussle to stop other political parties from contesting election. Actually, in your article, you describe it as legal ambush. But again, are you surprised at this kind of legal ambush? I mean, you've been a member of the All Progressives Congress and you've been in politics for over 25 years. This shouldn't surprise you. Why is your party not prepared for this legal ambush?
It is very unfortunate and it's very sad. The same system Wike used in 2019 is what he has continued to use. And those, you see why I'm so embittered when you see most of my write-ups is that the people that were denied these opportunities are the same people that are living Amechi, the same people that were given tickets to contest election in 2019 that Wike, Magnus Abe and his group and others denied those opportunities are the same people that are joining Wike. That is, that gives you a very funny scenario. And Wike, as we know, I worked with him. We worked with Amechi. All of us work with him. We know his strategy. We know his tactics. But for those people who are concerned, who have studied this man, know what he can do, cannot predict his next move. Amechi is a man alone. I'm a man alone. There's no way we can be acting for candidate A, candidate B, knowing very well that they have been in the system and they should know what should be done in order to prevent Wike from succeeding. So if they are adamant or quiet and all these things, and Wike still prevail over them, if by 2023 Wike prevails over us and all these things, we have no reason for whatsoever to continue to talk about politics in Rivers State.
And actually, talking about that, you have also said in one of your articles that you're preparing to retire. So are you saying if by 2023, if Wike prevails over your party, that might just force you into retirement permanently from politics?
By January, I hope you're hearing me now. Are you hearing me?
Yes, very well.
I will be. Are you hearing me now?
Clearly, sir.
Okay. By January, I will be 65. My last doctor, my first child did her birthday when she was 30 years old. Then what you should be asking me at 65, what will I still be doing when my child, was a PA on media to a governor? And if he was PA on media to a governor, and then what is it that I'm still doing? And when my son read computer engineering, and is one of the people assisting me in work, why should I still continue to stay? I am not I'm not one of these in that feel that they are going to stay in politics and die in politics. By 2023, my duty is to ensure that Rivers State APC gets to break out. And if God help me, I succeed in that. I think I have done what God has sent me to. But if I fail, I would say, I have done my best. I just want to rest.
All right, Chief Emeka, we just want you to stay with us, and we must appreciate you joining us online. This is quite commendable. We'll take some calls, and also we'll be taking comment for those joining us on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, and you can watch this discussion with Chief Emeka right now on Facebook, and also live on YouTube. After the calls, I will be asking Chief Emeka a very serious question. You are you've worked closely with the Turaki Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, and actually, in one of your articles, you were very angry following a comment by the Rivers State Governor, Ezenwoya Sowore, calling Atiku a liar. I would want you to speak to that, but first I'm just going to take some calls, and let's just take the calls now. And for those who would like to join us via telephone, the number to call is 070-5079-1021 and 081-174-31021. We're speaking to Chief Emeka. It is Point Blank, and Rivers State politics is in perspective. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Point Blank.
Hello, good morning. I am Faith.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Good.
I want to talk to Chief Emeka. You see that man in the studio, He's speaking from both sides of his mouth. This chief Ego Chukwuemeka was the one attacking Governor Wike. But today, sitting in the studio, he's praising Governor Wike that is the best thing that happened to Right Honorable Chibuike Amechi. Can you see how people can be double standard? That man in the studio, Chukwuemeka Ego, I won't be surprised if I wake up tomorrow morning and I hear that he has joined Governor Wike. Same way he's speaking, I think to 5 days, we are talking video. And today,
I apologize, Faith. Again, we.
I'm coming. Yes. I'm coming. Wait, let me finish. I want to tell Chukwuemeka today that if wherever he sees to make a mind with Abby, he should apologize to him. Because Chukwuemeka and his friends they have been the people destroying River State APC, even up to today. They are being the ones allowing the PDP to destroy River State APC. And now it is clear to the world. Now, Senator Abbey has left APC for APP. They are the ones now showing what they have been doing in the city. It is open now. You should not apologize to Mr. Manu.
Well, thank you so much, Faith. Thank you so much for your comments, and I think Chief Chukwuemeka is listening to you and will respond to one. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Otogo Kanduga. I'm calling from Onega.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to greet your guest, Chief Chukwuemeka. You see, I want to really say that in one word or the other, I am disappointed with his statements, in the sense that he has been of double standard. From the onset, he said Abbey was the issue in APC River State. But now Abbey has left the APC for SDP. And still the problem continued in APC River State. Not just continued, there is an avalanche of the campaigns in APC. One, Chris Simon, who has been a staunch man, actually attacking Abbey on social media, the print media, and every media. Every movement Abbey means he's on the studio talking. But today, they are the ones betraying Adechi. That is to show that Abbey was actually on the right path, trying to make sure that APC River State doesn't fall like a bag of beans inside the gutter. But today, APC River State has actually fall like a bag of beans inside the gutter.
That's your judgment. That's your judgment. But again, we quite appreciate your comment.
It's not my judgment. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. It's not my judgment. But I'm trying to tell you that APC River State has no hope.
Again, that's your judgment. That's your judgment. That's your view. But again, thank you so much for your comments. Let's just take one last one before we go back to Chief Chukwuemeka. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Shudu.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I want to make a comment on Chief Chukwuemeka. First, we were talking about the gubernatorial candidate of PDP, and he said that he's being wanted by the UFCC. I am surprised that such an elderly man will be saying, so we pushing such propaganda. How can someone withdraw such amount on Kanta? Can Chukwuemeka be invested money on Kanta? And how come the university is saying this man moving around and have not made any arrest? Everyone, you and I, you know that the UFCC cannot investigate accounts in River State. Why is this so particular about similar?
All right, well, thank you so much. I think you've made your point there. Thank you so much. I will just come back to Chief Chukwuemeka. Now, you heard all the comments. Let's take a reaction.
You see, people are not understanding me very well. What Musabe they are talking about? After Amechi, after Wike, the next person that falls in line in loving me or appreciating me in River State politics is Abu Sabe. Then Dakuku Peter said to replace me and others, they may follow suit. I have not, and Abu Sabe is aware that I have nothing against him as a person, as an individual. What I am against him is being in APC and working against the progress of APC. All of us were aware by 2015, by the time the court announced that APC will not have candidates in the election, Mark Musabe and his people were seen dancing in a video. Now, for what to justify or to be happy over the downfall or failure of his political party, that person is not a serious member. And we are aware that he didn't stop there. He continued to ensure that the progress of APC in Rivers State is downplayed. The cause are there. And the people that are the cattle were the bad seeds that he sold in APC. And they have to stay back and they pay him or act on his behalf. The only exceptional person among all these people, I have stated it, they are Dawari George, Tony Principal, Fambu. These are people that you can now say that the campaign, has much effect on us because they acted not the way expected of them. And then some of them talk that double standard or what. I don't know double standard in what way. I have been a steadfast follower of Amaechi and his principle and his actions and his politics. And I have been on Nwike and Abe based on what I see of them. I saw them doing that contrary to the unity and politics of Rivers State. So I don't know where double standard comes into all this.
Well, fantastic.
And I said it from the beginning that all these characters are personal friends. And if I'm picking them on, I must have to pick them on facts that are based on truth, facts that are very that can be verified. Every other person attacking or condemning what I am doing or what I'm saying, that person is entitled to his or her opinion. And I have no worry about it.
Well, fantastic. You're listening to Point Blank, and we're speaking to a prolific writer, a veteran journalist, a senior one indeed. He's also a politician. He was a founding member of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State in 1998. He was a member of the Adamawa State Seed Formation Committee in Adamawa State. He was also the former National Publicity Secretary of the new People's Democratic Party, PDP, which is now defunct. He was a former publicity secretary of the Rivers State Action Congress. He's worked with several politicians within and outside Rivers State, but he continues to write concerning the political situation in Rivers State. Chief Chukwuemeka Eze is joining us. Now, Chief Chukwuemeka Eze, let's move to national politics, particularly as it has to do with the People's Democratic Party. You have an unpublished work, which is titled "The Man Atiku Abubakar: From Obscurity to Limelight," and that work has not been published, and it shows that you know the man Atiku Abubakar very well, because not only have you worked with him in Adamawa State, and at one particular time you were also involved in his political campaigning. Again, you wrote an article when the Rivers State Governor Eze Nwanyi described Atiku as a liar. You were very angry. Now tell us a bit, looking at what is happening in the People's Democratic Party, what Governor Wike is doing, and the personality of Atiku Abubakar, do you think things will fly the way they are going in the PDP, knowing Atiku very well?
You see, one thing I don't like in Nigerian politics is not giving respect to those that we feel that are superior to us. That is the problem that I'm having.
And are you by that saying that Atiku is superior to Governor Wike? Is that what you're saying? Are you by that saying Atiku is superior to Governor Wike?
I don't even expect you to ask such a question because how can you compare somebody who has been a vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to somebody who was a local government chairman?
And don't forget, he's a two-time governor of Rivers State.
Two-time governor and the vice president are they on the same level? And again, when we talk about politics, when I talk about playing politics, we was still in school, because the SDP you are talking about was funded and formed by Atiku. The PDP that you are talking about, Atiku was the one that paid for the rate for 3 to 4 years and paying the salaries of the workers on his own. So when somebody now come up tomorrow, it's just like probably everybody in Rivers State coming up tomorrow who has been a local government chairman and start challenging Wike and all these things. then calling him names. Some of us will not be comfortable with it. And that is why some of us are not comfortable the way Wike is behaving with Atiku and Dick. And as a friend to Wike, I have told him and I have pleaded with him, please tread cautiously over this particular issue. Because the caliber of people that you are abusing, Sule Lamido, Babangida and all these things, are people that will determine your political future. And you are being hard on them, calling them names. That is not how politics. He's a governor. He should talk and behave like a governor. Now, when we talk about my relationship with Atiku, my relationship with Atiku dates back as 1990, 1991, 1990, when I was posted to then defend Gogora State to do my youth service. I came in there and tried to find out who and who are politically in position to help Gogora State. Atiku name was given to me. Motley Yako name was given to me. And most of them, Ali Baba was given to me. Gambo Jemeta was given to me. And I voted them as patrons of NYC at that particular time. That is how my relationship with Atiku. By the time Atiku wanted to contest, he has contested under SDP against Boss Musafa. It was taken as Christian Muslim challenge in Adamawa State at that particular time. I identified with him. Atiku himself and anybody from Adamawa State will tell you that I gave him money from his election. I gave him sport materials. I promoted him. I gave him money. I gave him check in order to make him carry on with his activities in politics in Adamawa State. And then, based on that, he now formed Turaki Bankard and appointed me the National Publicity Secretary of this thing. And by the time he organized his presidential campaign in 2003 or so, he will make me a member.
Okay. Chief Chukwemeka, you say your point.
I have a relationship with Atiku. I cannot deny that. But when he's the one that sent me to Rivers State, if you may be aware, he sent me to Rivers State to assist to the Prince-Way and all this. When all of us were in Action Congress. And while I was there, I did what he asked me to do. And Tore Prince-Way became a hot cake. And by the time Tore Prince-Way decided to join Amechi, and then I was in Adamawa State, I told Amechi, look, he should not celebrate his meeting until this. They called me and said I should come back to Rivers State. And Amechi, I have watched him, studied him, and found out that this is a man that has not only the interest of Rivers State, but has the interest of Nigeria. And what have I to do? I have to stick with him, and I have been with him, and I will be with him until God decides otherwise. So that is the position of things. And if tomorrow you come against Ada Amechi, against Atiku, or anybody that I feel that, and I will not between myself in any favor, I keep him quiet. Wike himself, if anybody comes against him on a way that I don't like, I will come against that person. Because Wike is not only my friend, he's my brother, and he's my associate. But whatever he does wrong or is doing wrong, I will come and go. And you know that he has not said about it.
Chief Chukwemeka, it's nice talking to you this morning. There are several other issues we would have loved for you to talk to us about, but again, we have another segment coming up shortly. But again, definitely we will bring you back to Point Blank, to X-ray issues in the politics of Rivers State. Once again, thank you so much, Chief Chukwemeka, for joining Point Blank this morning.
I'm very honored. I'm honored even confronting or facing somebody like you. And I give God all the credit. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much.
That is why the beat is laughing.
Thank you so much, Chief Chukwemeka. Thank you so much.
ready to take care of his village. So
well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. We'll be going on a short break. When we come back from the short break, we'll be examining recent development relating to the oil production remediation project HYPREP, following calls by federal government for the auditing of HYPREP. And of course, our guest, a former MOSOP President Ledu Mite. Ledu Mite has been speaking extensively concerning the issue of the Ogoni cleanup. He has his views, and of course, some of these views, though a lot of people may describe as very harsh, but again, Ledu Mite is not backing down and is willing to speak on all of these and many more. Stay with us. Point Blank will be back shortly.
Missing out on your favorite shows? Now we got you covered. You can now download the Super FM Global app on your Google Play Store or iOS Store and enjoy the best of programs, news, sports, music, and lots more on Super FM Global app. Stay up to date with your favorite shows and interact with your favorite OEPs on Super FM Global app. You're just a click away from a whole quality radio experience. Super FM Global app. Be informed, be inspired, and be influenced. Spread the news.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us. You're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Point Blank is a news and current affairs program, airs on this station on Saturdays from 8:15, and we'll discuss a whole lot of issues from politics to human angle stories. Now, don't forget, you can download the Super FM Global app and listen to this show and many other broadcasts from Super FM online. Listen to us from anywhere in the world through our app, and follow the show right now on Facebook. We're live on Facebook, Super FM 93.3, and on Twitter on Super FM 933, on Instagram, Super FM 93.3, and also watch us live on YouTube. On YouTube, it is Super FM PH. Now, the issue concerning the Ogoni cleanup is a very big one. Actually, this is a multi-million-dollar project, and right now we gather that, well, the fund is increasing. Recently, federal government is calling for the auditing of HYPREP. And a lot of concerns have been raised concerning this call by federal government for the auditing of HYPREP. Again, the issue of Ogoni cleanup has been one that has been generating a lot of reaction for quite some concerned stakeholders in the Ogoni axis. And one person that has been speaking concerning the Ogoni cleanup has been conducted by HYPREP is the former leader of the Movement for Survival of Ogoni People, Ledu Mite. A lot of people have described his comments and views concerning the Ogoni cleanup as very harsh, but Ledu Mite is not backing down. And joining us this morning, we have Barrister Ledu Mite, who is a former president of MOSOP, joining us. And thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Point Blank. Okay, again, you need to unmute. We gather that you're muted. If you can hear us, you need to unmute your microphone so as to join us. Can you hear us clearly? Barrister Ledu Mite, can you hear us? There is an icon. Okay, very well. Thank you so much for joining us, Barrister Ledu Mite. Can you hear us now? All right, stay with us. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll be bringing in Barrister Ledu Mite on. I think there's one or two issues right there. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in River State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
If you're not protecting the life of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
$500 million that the village borrow for Kano, Abuja, Kaduna. At the time I was speaking, we are paid over 100 something million out of $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Shegan Awolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
Okay, so back to Point Blank again. I'm about to let me say you will need to unmute if you can hear us clearly. There's an icon there to me. But quickly now, I would also have joining us on Point Blank this morning the project coordinator of HyPrep, Dr. Ferdinand Giadam, and the former acting project coordinator and director of technical services of HyPrep, Professor Philip Shekwolo. And we're hoping to have all of them join us in a moment. Again, just to put everything straight, we'll be looking at the issue relating to the hydrocarbon pollution and remediation project, and we're looking at the recent comment made by
Hello?
Yeah, fantastic. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Bryce Teledomisa, we quite appreciate it. Yes, we can hear you clearly. We can hear you.
Okay.
Fantastic. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and let us begin again. You have warned that the federal government should ensure that the call for auditing of HyPrep does not go the way of the NDDC. So tell us, Bryce Teledomita, what is exactly your fears? And again, do you also think that the call for auditing of HyPrep from inception to date is necessary?
Well, let me say this. We must place the HyPrep project in its distinctive perspective. Now, my fears are that the last time we heard of audit, that was the NDDC forensic audit. We found out that that is exactly what has been used as an excuse for business as usual. We now hear from the Minister of Niger Delta that there needs to be a white paper before they can even set up the board of NDDC. Now, the whole issue for 2 years now, we've been hearing of audit, and nothing is happening to the people of the Niger Delta from NDDC. Now, the Ogoni cleanup is a special project, distinctive in the fact that it is a matter that touches life and death of people. It is something that we thought, and the whole world thought, is going to become a model that for the cleanup of other polluted parts of the Niger Delta. So anything that happens have a multiplier effect. And therefore, when you hear of these audits and audits and audits, it seems to me that it's always an excuse for business as usual. And that's why we are concerned. Now, I have raised issues because what happened in the very recent past has been that there appears to be a struggle about control of HyPrep. While the Minister of Transport said that President Buhari had ordered the transfer of the project to the Niger Delta Ministry, the next day the Minister of Environment refuted that and now said that there is now going to be an audit. Right now, all those who have watched the process, especially the communities, have raised doubts about what actually is the cleanup all about, because the communities have not felt the impact of the project. So why do we have all these issues? And so these are issues that are quite concerning to me.
Again, if I may just come in here, because you have just raised a very, very, very critical issue, and it is the fact that you said the communities are not even feeling the impact of the oil cleanup. And you should know, because you are a former president of MASAP, you should know because you're also a member of Bukabari, which is the Apex Ogoni Social Cultural Organization. Again, this may not go down well, particularly for the handlers of the project. And again, I've just been told that Professor Philip Shekwolo is joining us. But again, clarify to us, what do you mean by nothing is happening and that the people are not feeling the impact of the project?
Well, let us put it this thing. When UNEP entered into the, brought out the report in 2011, there are certain recommendations. The recommendations, number one, was that there are certain emergency issues that must be dealt with. One of those emergency issues was that people
must not be allowed to drink the water they've been drinking because it's heavily polluted. 2, people should not fish in those waters. 3, they should not even bathe in those waters. Now, since this project started, people are still bathing in those waters. They are drinking those waters and all that. Quite recently, we must concede, however, that they said they are going to do a water project. Contracts galore has been all over the place. But let's ask ourselves, any person familiar with the Niger Delta today can go to each community in the Niger Delta and point to one borehole or 2 that are not working. Why are they not working? Because water projects have been put as just a billboard for politicians and actors. So you can just get a borehole and a tank. On the day of commissioning, you bring a generator and then you get water. That's the end. Now, they now want to start a project, several projects of water, each of which I understand will have to be powered by generators, diesel generators. Now you tell me, even banks now find it difficult to power their facilities for as long as they've been there. How many communities can afford diesel to do that? So clearly, how do you impact on a community? Let me tell you, Shegun, listen, this project was supposed to cost an initial $1 billion. $1 billion today is supposed to be, by all conservative estimates, is almost like 700 billion naira. Now, 700 billion, if it enters into any community and the people, their lives do not change, then something is wrong. Now, today, from my own research, HYPREP will have spent almost nearly 1/3 of that. Can you say the lives of Ogoni people have moved to about 1/3 of that? And these are the issues. So you don't need rocket science to say so. If you have spent about 300 billion and the people have not seen what you are doing in their lives have not changed, nothing, then I have every legitimacy to say that it is not impacting on the communities.
And these are very critical facts you've stated, though those facts are based on your opinion. But again, just permit me, I'll be bringing in Professor Philip Shekwolo. Professor Philip Shekwolo is a former acting project coordinator and director, technical services of HYPREP. Professor Philip Shekwolo, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. You've heard Ledumite, and Ledumite has said, look, what's going on in Ogoni under the name of HYPREP cleanup is nothing but a sham. The people are not benefiting. Nothing is happening here. And this is a big budget project. Again, what do you have to explain concerning that?
Thank you very much, Shegun, for having me. My good friend, Niche, I can understand where it's coming from. And but again, we need to balance. Maybe I have to go back to history so that we can be well informed. You know that the UNEP report was released and submitted in 2011. The first HYPREP was established in 2012, and it was abortive, because there are no structures in place to show its success. When the present government realized the problem in 2015, our President, His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, promised that these reports of UNEP must be implemented. It was a promise, and in 2016, he flagged off the project.
Now, Professor Philip Shekwolo, I'm very, very sorry. I know you have all of these details, but again, I just want us to stick to the facts that is presently. Okay. I want us to stay with the present situation analysis of the cleanup.
Let me go straight to the implementation of the emergency measures, which was the first and foremost was the provision of potable water to impacted communities. And one of the most impacted communities was
Ogale, Osusuke, because of the presence of benzene due to the refined crude that was in the groundwater. When I was given the opportunity to act in 2020, end of 2020, 2021, I made that a priority. And I accelerated the contracts for the water to be awarded, mobilize them to site, and I realized, as you have said, sustainability of the project is key. We had other projects all over Ogoni.
Now, Professor Philip Shekolo, again, I'm sorry to cut it short because you see, we have very limited time, Professor Philip Shekolo. If I may come in, if you would hear me clearly, Professor, you said let me has raised, Professor Philip Shekolo, if you would hear me, can you hear me, Professor Philip Shekolo? I think we're having some issue with Professor Philip Shekolo there.
Integrated power sources, apart from the generators, we shall bring solar, and we shall link up the entire Ogoni with the national grid. That is the latest that we have put together. Economic PC has looked at that and has pursued this rigorously. That the national grid will be brought in to ensure that we have some sustainability on power issues. And
okay, now, Professor Philip Shekolo, let me just come straight to the point. Professor Philip Shekolo, if you would hear me, Ledumite has made very, very clear allegation. Number one allegation is that in many of these communities, people are still bathing in basin polluted river. He has said, look, the issue of water is taking so long. So, Professor Philip Shekolo, tell us, are people still bathing in polluted rivers? And again, water, where is it? You just have 2 minutes to explain that, Professor Philip Shekolo. Yes. Now, Professor Philip Shekolo, you may need to unmute your mic, please. Kindly unmute your mic, Professor Shekolo. Now, while we're working on that, we want you to unmute your mic. I think your mic is...
Okay, can you hear me now?
Very well.
As I said, the issue of buffering in polluted waters is maybe a choice because it's very...
It's a choice. You say it's a choice.
There are signboards to caution people that these waters here, these streams that have been impacted because of the discharge of oil into the water by artisanal refining activities should not be used. You know that refining activities have been prevalent, and we are fighting to ensure that we see that the refining activities stop. This has been a campaign.
Now, Professor Philip Shekolo, I'm going to ask you to hold on a little bit. I'm going to ask you to hold on a little bit.
Cleaning those areas.
I'm going to ask you to hold on a little bit. Barrister Ledumite is smiling when you say the issue of bathing in basin polluted water is a choice. Again, Barrister Ledumite, you've just heard up from Professor Shekolo that there are warnings, but people chose to still bathe in such waters.
Well, I don't know what becomes a choice in this matter. When people have no alternative, they were born in the community. That's where they used to bath. That's the water they used to drink. They have no alternative. You don't provide an alternative to somebody and you say they are doing it out of choice. Choice means that there are two alternatives and you decide to go one way. I don't think that will be fair to communities that do not have any alternative.
Again, I just would want to bring this to just mundane elements because, again, Barrister Ledumite, you raise a very big concern on what you describe as opaque contracting processes. And you said, look, you are tired because the contracting process is not going the way it should go. Tell us a bit of what you know on the contracting processes and why do you describe it as opaque?
Well, I use those words very carefully. We have done a search at the Companies Affairs Commission on some of the contractors that were given some of the cleanup contracts. And we found that some of those contracts, some of those companies were not registered for anything and have no prior experience in some of those, in cleanups. And as I said, we must always take this within the context of the Niger Delta, even though it's an Ogoni thing. But because of the visibility of Ogoni, because of his the success of his campaigns, anything you do in Ogoni has impact because people are watching. They want to see how you treat this so that they can learn from it. I feel put this against what has been happening. Look at NDDC, look at the East-West Road, look at most of the Niger Delta projects. The same thing that seems to be happening. It's like you give money on paper on the left hand and then it goes there. The contracting processes are driven from Abuja and then this is what is happening. I challenge any person that we can produce corporate affairs commission documents that shows that some of these contractors have no prior experience. As we speak, there are legal actions somewhere in Abuja over some of the contracts they gave for even, I think it was public relations matter, where some of these allegations have been made. So I don't make them just out of just out of course, but I'm making it out of some research.
But again, a lot of people want to say, given your status in Ogoni land, what move have you done to correct this?
What do I do when something is driven by the government? My view is that what we are supposed to do is what I'm doing, to raise these issues to those who can do it. You cannot go there and do it yourself. I will tell you, Shego, that the whole concept of the cleanup, I led a delegation of Mossad people to the meeting with the Director General of UNEP, and we had 2 days meeting in Nairobi, and that is what led to the cleanup and UNEP engagements. And all those things, I have minutes of those meetings. So from the beginning, I know what we thought we are going to achieve and what we were supposed to achieve. So what I think is that we can always hold them to account, and that's exactly what I'm doing. When I think that the eyes are off the ball, we should raise it so that, not for the purpose of just criticizing, so that people can learn and change and do the right things. That's what I'm saying.
Well, fantastic. If you're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and we have joining us online Barrister Ledumite, former president of Mossad, and Barrister Ledumite has been speaking recently concerning the situation with the hydrocarbon pollution and remediation project. HYPREP has been raising very serious concerns on the contracting situation in HYPREP. The hydrocarbon pollution and remediation project, HYPREP, is the opaque nature of leadership of HYPREP, and also he's been raising concerns related to the actual cleanup of HYPREP. Now we're talking about that, but that's not the only issue we'll be looking at this morning. We'll be looking at other issues, but also joining us on the issue relating to HYPREP, we have Professor Sokolo. Professor Sokolo is an acting project coordinator and director of technical services HYPREP. Professor Philip Sokolo is also with us. Now we'll just take 2 calls and we'll come back looking at the comments from the social media. Don't forget, you can watch the entirety of this discussion and you can be part of our discussion live. Watch us on YouTube, Super FM PH. Watch us on Facebook, Super 93.3 FM, and also on Twitter and Instagram. And also you can phone in and send in your contribution. The number to call is 0705 079 1021 as well as 081 174 31021. Let's take the first 2 calls. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please, we'd like for you to speak up a bit, sir.
Yes, I'm calling from Element. Please, Chibueze.
Chibueze, good morning.
Okay. Yes, Professor Philip was saying that there was water in Elderly. I don't know if you are coming to Elderly. I just know water, no clean up of the can you imagine what now? Can't I to do water or you can do water at Elderly?
Well, thank you so much. I think you've made your point very clear and nothing going on organic. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We have another call here.
Hello, good morning, Pastor Shemu.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to our leader, Ledumite. Yes, Mr. My name is Kennedy Friday, and I'm calling from Abuja.
Kennedy Friday, good morning. Thank you.
Yes, Shevuna, thank you for this program. And I want you to recall that I have had cause to call on a similar HYPREP-related program when you were at Reading 92.7. And then we were talking about some of the intervention projects that were outlined in the UNEP report, one of which is the provision of water for the people. Remember then that I talked about what I considered a predilection to tokenism. You know, we have the money. The money is $1 billion. And people are talking about doing something that looks like borehole that will be powered by a generator. Now, like our leader, Dr. Lady Mita, said, we take care of fueling those generators. How long will that be done? So that raises an issue of sustainability. That day, I also remember that I raised the issue of an integrated water project that was designed by an international company for the Ogoni people. And a very, very integrated water project that will take care of all Ogoni communities. The design has been done, the proposal has been demonstrated. What stops our people from going, for what will be sustainable, so that even generations yet unborn will feel the impact of this struggle and the benefit that our people are engaged in, rather than discussing tokenism and doing this tokenism thing that will only enrich a few and leave the people in perpetual poverty. A water that will actually not provide any water. That is what is going on today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. And we'll just take one more. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. We're listening to Point Blank. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sheldon.
Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
And good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
My name is Colin Wadakopi. I'm calling from Cemetery.
Good.
It is very unfortunate that we, the Ogonis especially, we kill ourselves. There is nothing true about the high press in Ogoni land. They have not done anything regarding the proposal as recommended by the UNEP report. And instead of us to look a way forward, how to help our people that are poor, we are drinking this water. We are drinking this water. And the elected don't drink this water. Why not the people in charge look at the way and forget about how they enrich themselves first, and think about how the people can be saved from drinking this water, from drinking this water.
Okay.
We kill ourselves a lot.
All right, fantastic. So your point is, what can we do to save the people? And I believe Professor Sekola is there, and Barry Ledumite is also joining. But again, Ledumite, I want you to situate these the questions also in line with your recent appeal, because actually you made a passionate appeal to President Muhammad Buhari, asking President Muhammad Buhari to ensure a credible cleanup. Again, a lot of people say this is coming after a long time. The UNEP report is over 11 years, and this is 2022, and you are still appealing for a credible process, which means you doubt the credibility of the leadership of HYPREP, which is also headed by an Ogoni son, Dr. Ferdinand Giadam, and this is quite a slap on the leadership there. Am I correct?
No, you're not. I mean, the issue is not about the leadership of HYPREP. First, we must understand, and I must say this with the greatest respect to my friend Prof, that this thing is driven from Abuja. These people who are here do not have powers to decide things. And I think that is what we must understand. So whether you like, you go and put an angel there, and there's no doubt about the competence of those who are running HYPREP. But can we say that about the political forces that direct what actually happens in HYPREP? I'm not sure I can say that one. That's the point I'm making. And I raised in my statements that let's look at this. That last year the budget of HYPREP was $300 million. Now we are almost middle of the year. Their budget now is, last year it was $35 million.
And now it's $300 million.
For half of the year, we now have $300 million. Now, to do that, why do you think the budget has just shot up to that level? I am not going to say, but I believe that I want to a credible process that will convince us that this is not something, it's not a signal that they are going to carry out election year spending. And then these are some of the issues. I empathize even with some of the people who are running IPREP, because they are not able to, the forces above them are huge. But we must be able to say these things, because for posterity, people should be able to say, when we saw this happen, I say, we are talking of about 300 million. Now, if you dollars, that is about $300 billion.
300 billion naira. Yeah.
Now, if you look at all that, look at all the flyovers that Governor Wike has done in Port Harcourt, how does it stand related to this sort of amount? At least from the flyovers, it changes the face of Port Harcourt. But now we are having that sort of money supposedly spent or to be spent in Ogoni, and the people are still where they are. Something must be wrong. And I feel we should look at it in that manner. And I say this again because I have consistently followed the Niger Delta thing. And I say it again. Look at the East-West Road. Nothing is happening. People cannot pass through there. Look at the NDDC. Nothing is happening there. So when it comes to the Niger Delta, it seems to me that those in Abuja just give money from one hand and take from the other. And that is what I am concerned about. And even those who are in the leadership position of IPREP, they cannot say these things, but we see it. But they themselves, I'm sure that deep down inside them, they know that what we are saying is correct. But what can they do?
Well, again, Professor Philip Shokolo is itching to say something. I would allow you to speak, Professor Shokolo, but again, I still want to take on Ledumite because you have also expressed the fears that this huge money that ought to go for the cleanup of Ogunla might just go for election spending. What are the indications to show you that?
What I'm saying is that if on last year's budget was $35 million, now we are now in the middle of the year, and then the budget is now about 300 million. Then you should ask, what is it in the calendar that shows that such money should be spent now? And what the only thing I see in the calendar now is not governance, it's politics. And again, if you look at the budget, at least the ones that I've seen, they now peg the exchange rate for the dollar for 411 naira to the dollar. So even at that, you can see that something is not adding up. And I feel that these are issues that we should deal with. And I'm concerned because I come from the area. I am also a Niger Delta person. And so if we see certain things that are there, we should raise it. And I expect that that should lead to some sober reflection. And people should not feel that the critic is always wrong. I think that it is something that should ask you to go and rework what you are supposed to do.
Fantastic. Let me just bring in Professor Shokolo there before we come back to taking more telephone calls. You've heard the fears of Ledumite. Big money we have there. Big money we have there. And, well, nothing seems to be happening. Again, that brings us to find out, how are we certain that the people of Ogoni are not going to be shortchanged here?
Okay, thank you very much, Shego. I have to do some corrective narratives here. First and foremost, my good friend has said some things which I need to correct to put the record straight. First, you see, the issue of contractors' qualification. You see, when we advertise in the newspapers, both international and local, we say we encourage and we state that those who are local contractors and who are interested in this work must sort and have a joint venture agreement with international contractors who have the reputed competence and experience for remediation. And that is what is in the package that is submitted. So we have to check and see what contractors who are not experienced, who have done some related work, maybe civil design jobs, and are interested in environmental remediation, and have technical partners that can support them, they qualify, because the technical partners will give them the technical direction for how to succeed. So that's important. Then let me come to the issue of budget. You see, the issue we're handling what you call low-risk simple sites, because their distances from communities are much further. Now we are going into handling what you call medium-risk sites and high-risk sites, and those require more comprehensive remediation of both the soil and the groundwater to standards that meet the drinking water standards of the WHO. So this is very important. The cost is not the same if you are handling simple sites where you are dealing mainly with soil remediation from what you are dealing with groundwater remediation. So you find that there is a difference in cost. And in the budget of 2022, we are also going to, we are proposed to commence the construction, the desired construction of the multi-billion-dollar Center of Excellence for Environmental Remediation.
You know something, Professor Philip Shekwolo, I'm sorry to intervene. I'm sorry to interject, Professor Shekwolo. Ledumite has said it, and he said he pities the handlers of the project, because some of you may not just be able to say the things that the things just the way they are, because you are employees of the federal government. And again, that's a very big issue here, because some of the things you're saying to us, I'm sure people who are from the community like Ledumite will not be happy with some of the things you're saying.
Why? I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking what is in the report documentation.
We're talking about what is on ground. What is on ground, not what is in the report.
Because that's a legacy thing that we were sleeping, right? Apart from clean up, we will do that. And the issue of water supply, as I said, we are bringing in the issue of sustainability. If somebody was talking about Friday was talking about integrated water supply, where in the Niger Delta we don't have a dam, an art dam that supplies water from surface sources. And it's successful.
Okay.
The geology and does not allow you to have a dam in Niger Delta. Because it's geological information that doesn't allow you to put a dam there. And if you just go into the stream, to tap water, you can't just, it's not sustainable.
Fantastic. Professor Pius, fantastic. Because I'm just going to ask the Barrister Ledumite what his proposal is going to be, because we've seen all his plea, we've seen all his agitation, and we've seen all his cries, and we will be asking him what he will be calling off next, because we're going into the electioneering period, and of course, if you know what things are, the way things are going in Nigeria, we might not likely see anything happen between that period. Again, I will be asking Barrister Ledumite what next should be. But just before then, we'll throw open the telephone line so that we can take 2 other calls. And don't forget, you can watch this discussion live. We're live on Facebook. On Facebook, it is Super FM 93.3. You watch us live. And also, we're live on YouTube. You can watch the studio live on YouTube, Super FM PH. Let's take these calls now. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
Hello, good morning, Shego.
Good morning, sir.
I'm Wisdom calling from Bukana.
Wisdom from Bukana, just 30 seconds, please.
I give my brother in the studio. Good morning. Shego, see, all these people are doing because they are doing politics with Ogoni people. Because I'm a youth in Ogoni land. For 11 days project now, we have not seen water in Ogoni. We have not seen any impact. Nothing in Ogoni land. Nothing.
All right, Wisdom, we've talked about the issue of water, and professors reacted to that, but again, that's another issue. But let's move on. We have another caller here. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point Blank.
Good morning, Shegun. My name is Mishak.
Mishak, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Professor Philip Shekwolo, and good morning to our daddy, Barrister Ledumite. Shegun, communities complaints about the activities of the processes regarding the cleanup is not out of place. I want to also believe that HAPRED need a lot of work to do with regards to balancing expectations because expectations are high. I think that some of the processes are slow, even though some of what Shekwolo may have explained could the term to be correct, but they are extremely slow. What led the barrister made me to mention with regards to the issue of water, it's correct, and I think that the term Professor Philip Shokolo used completely not unnecessary by saying that it's out of choice. It's completely unnecessary. Why am I speaking this way? I am a stakeholder, and from the civil society angle, and we have been fully involved in the monitoring of the cleanup processes. And I can tell you from the civil society angle, we can tell you what the real situation is, unbiased situation from the angle of the community and that from the implementers of this project, which is HYPEP. And I think that I may not say so much here, but I want to say that HYPEP need to do a lot to ensure that expectations are met. And I also want to plead, Shegun, if it be possible, stakeholders, especially the CSO that are involved in monitoring and cleanup process, should be invited to also.
Well, fantastic. This is possible. This is possible, and we'll certainly do that. But again, let me just quickly, because
no doubt about it. We can accelerate the process, no doubt about it. And on the first part. Definitely, but we must do it in a way that is also scientifically proven. We must also cover the due process. We must not do it in a way that we don't also have to support the process.
Well, fantastic. I'm going to bring in Barcelona Mite here, and we'll be looking at that HYPEP and also to other matters. And I want to talk a bit about politics. Again, the Ogoni politics is a very serious one, and you are very serious stakeholders in Ogoni land. I mean, you're a member of Bo Kabari, which is the apex elite socio-political group in Ogoni land. Now, recently, we've been having some people saying that they are spokesperson for Ogoni people, official and unofficial, and that has led to comments like the People's Democratic Party will not win election in Ogoni, and some people say People's Democratic Party will win all the elections in Ogoni. Now, you as a stakeholders, where are these comments coming from, and what's your view about all of these comments?
Well, people are entitled to their views, and that is the beauty of democracy, that people have their views and differing views. When it comes to politics, one thing you will know is that the choices are there. And Ogoni, like any other place, have people that belong to different political persuasions. And I use that word advisedly because nowadays the parties, I mean, they're like an open door thing. Someone can be in the morning in one party, in the afternoon is in the other, and then they can even still swing back to the other party. So right nowadays, more often than not, it is who is contesting, what message are they going. So clearly, I do not see any problem with that. If people say this party will win, those are their own wishes, and I think that they are entitled to it.
But again, considering the fact that in recent past there have been calls for a governor of Ogoni extraction, do you think this dream is dead, and do you think it is possible to see it in 2023?
Well, like the Ogonis, like any other people, have a legitimate expectation that they should also have a governor of Ogoni extraction. There's no doubt about that. They should have such aspiration. Other people have that, and I think that the Ogonis have a strong case for that. And I think that, but what is there is that we acknowledge the fact. I do acknowledge the fact that the choice of candidates is that of the political party concerned, and so each of the parties will bring their candidates. So what I know is that as it is now, it will become more interesting, the political space, because there are more choices that appears to be thrown at the people, the electorate. What that calls for is that whether you are Ogoni or any other person and you are contesting, your messaging must be something that can also attract others, to follow you up. I advise that very strongly. I think that, for instance, maybe to drive this point home, I've been watching the political space even nationally. And you can see whether you like it or not, there are some candidate whose message seems to be connecting with a whole lot of the youths. It shows that messaging can be important. So why can't we also drive that home so that we can have the messaging that connects with all parts of the state, so that even if it's an Ogoni person, you can also draw support from other places.
So the question now is this, I'm very sorry, the question now is, will Nedu Mite canvass for a governor of Ogoni extraction in 2023?
Well, I said that we have a legitimate right, like any other persons, to aspire for that. When the time comes, the Ogoni people will decide what to do.
Well, fantastic, and we'll just say on that a little bit. And again, I've been furnished with series of court order that restrains you from speaking on issues relating to the movement for survival of Ogoni people. We found a lot of people have told me that Segun Nedu Mite cannot speak on Mossop matter because there are series of court cases. We don't want to be subject to court matters, and we will not touch the meat of the issue concerning Mossop. But again, what's your total view on the leadership in Ogoniland?
Well, let me say there is no such order that says I should not speak on issues pertaining to Mossop. One thing that I would like you to understand is that Mossop itself is a victim of its successes. When Mossop became so successful, we started it in 1990, and it didn't take steam until about 1993. Now, from 1993 onwards, in fact, within 2 years, it went through a lot of crisis. And even that crisis shot its reputation worldwide. So you now find a small child that was supposed to grow, and it misses maybe some part of the development. And we had experts from organizational development who did a scan, and part of the problem you see in Mossop became its own successes. Why do I mean by that? If you see how Mossop started, it did not grow as an organization to therefore establish itself institutionally. So what Mossop benefited from was so much about the type of leadership that it had. So you have Dr. Layton, who was an established person in his own right. You had the late Ken Saro-Wiwa, who on his own. So Mossop benefited from the stature of these people. I came in, with all humility, I was an established lawyer in Rivers State. Now, sometime after that, we didn't seem to have those sort of leadership. The organization, therefore, became the umbrella for several dissenting forces. Many of the people who come back also do not even understand the dynamics what led to Mossop. Mind you, those who are up today, by 1990 they were kids. By 1994 they were kids. So how did they know exactly what has happened? So some of these intricacies, and the fact that its popularity now made the political class to think that the only way one way in which you can get the Ogoni grassroots is to hook up to the leadership of Mossop. So those tendencies which you see in Mossop is a function of the intervention by the political class. But something is being done about it, and we are working very hard on that.
Mr. Nedu Mite, some time ago, I had the opportunity of speaking to Senator Birabi, and one of the things he said to me, he said, Segun, the problem, and Dr. Birabi Badad, he said, the problem is that we must change Mossop. It should not be movement for survival for Ogoni people, that we need to change it to something else. Do you think the time has come that it stops becoming movement for survival to something else? Do you think it has lost its relevance?
Well, I am not here to dispute, the views of other people. But I've always been amazed nowadays in Ogoni where I see some people whose names, when translated, meant something else, including some people who have changed because of Christianity now. If their surname had something to do with juju, they change back and say no. So I have asked myself, is it possible that someone can change his surname? And people are doing that as this thing. There's a young man from my village whose name used to be in Gokana they call Menedupaso, which means that richness comes from the gods. I mean, not the god, but the gods. If you like juju, and the man says, "Look, I will not say because Christianity has come change my name. That's what my father called me, and I'm going to answer that." So I think that I don't know whether I can sit down here and say I'm going to, for any reason, I'm going to change my father's name who had died. I don't think I have those rights. I do not think also that if something is wrong with how things are done, is to correct it. But I don't think that I need to go back and change name. What is there in the name anyway?
Okay, thank you so much for staying with us. And we'll just take one or two comments, and we have comments coming here. This is from Nke Bariku Goodluck. Said, I want to greet our father, Barrister Dumite. The case of HYPREP and cleanup of Ogoni have been a dicey one. It hasn't yielded any positive fruit. There was a report of UNEP on the cleanup of Ogoni recommendations, and also you went further to also say HYPREP, the process is purely political and nothing more. Ogonis have more on their table at this particular time, and Ogoni have to move forward, and that's what you're saying. And I have another one here. I'm just trying to get a group of Hannah Promise. We're really suffering. Nothing is happening in Ogoni land, and money is just being wasted, and people are reaching themselves. And another one here saying Ogonis, we are the one killing ourselves. Comments coming in there. Let me just take this call. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point Blank. Could you turn down your radio set or move away from your radio sets? I think we lost that. Again, let's take this one. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good.
Good morning, Robin Later. Yeah, the HYPREP. Very unfortunate.
Can you just tell us your name, sir?
My name is Dr. Menazo Jackson.
Dr. Menazo Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, of the International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights.
Thank you, sir.
HYPREP. Very unfortunate development in Nigeria. I have not seen the faithfulness in the cleanup of Ogoni. As a civil society operator, I monitor what is happening in that office very well, almost on a weekly basis. The deception is unlimited. The bad faith as regards the cleanup can make somebody collapse. It is unfortunate that in this 20th century that we are talking about environmental cleanup, which other nations do with ease. But how many years today down the line, billions of naira is being pumped in, no result. And we expect the Ogoni people, we expect the Niger Delta people, we expect the Rivers people to keep quiet. And by the time we rise up and say there's nothing happening, that the deception that's going on in the Ogoni land is no longer acceptable, what they will do is to roll out their tanks. A day will come when there will be no drop of oil that will be taken from any part of Niger Delta. Because what they are is eating in Ogoni land shows that they think that the people of this area do not have sense. They think that we are animals. We think that we are not good to live in a decent environment. They think we don't need potable water.
Okay.
They take the money from here and go to Abuja and clean up Abuja and give themselves clean water. And somebody is here telling us that it is a choice whether we bathe in the pond or we bathe on clean water. For goodness sake, the money being spent in Ogoni land is money from Niger Delta. It's from money that have been taken from Ogoni land for a very long time. It's high time Nigeria government come out clean with good political will to clean up Ogoni land. This deception must stop.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks so much, Dr. Menazo Jackson, and we quite appreciate it. Now, Professor Philip Sokolo is joining us back again, and a lot of people are not happy. They're not happy over that comment.
What I meant by it's clearly, as I said, we are on the process of supplying water to as many of the communities as possible within the impacted communities, which UNEP recommended. We have got, we are planning, we have moved from just impacted communities to other communities that are not impacted because we want to ensure that water supply goes around to as many communities in Ogoni as possible. We have almost about 70-something communities now in the plan for the water supply. What we say is that when there is a caution and you know that there is an additional refining going on in the site, you don't go there to go and take water at the refining site. It's wrong. Unless you want to say that you don't care about the pilot. Because some people feel that crude oil is not, by traditional superstition, there's some who even use crude oil as medicine, which is, I know it's a superstitious thing. But again, we know that it is not right, scientifically. So that's why there's a campaign. And the first campaign was that communities are responsible to campaign to stop the activities of artisanal refining that produce this. When we go to fetch water, people go to fish. So that is an ongoing activity, it's an ongoing campaign. There's some success we have achieved, and we are now going to look at areas where we can commence the clean up of the creeks, of the shoreline areas, to make sure that the shoreline areas are now clean.
Okay.
Sure, water supply through boreholes, through groundwater.
Professor Philip Sekolo,
most sustainable.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. We thank you so much, Professor Philip Sekolo. Thank you so much, sir.
Because of the geology.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Philip Sekolo.
The geographical factors and the geographical factors, the geographical factors.
I apologize, Professor Philip Sekolo. We don't have enough time. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Professor Philip Sekolo. I'm just going to come to Ledometer, and Ledometer, you just have about 60 seconds to just give you your final takes, and if possible, I want you to put in also issues relating to the latest Buddha oil spill. If you can just accommodate that in 60 seconds.
Well, I have raised most of the major issues which I think is there. It is for the government to demonstrably show that they want a legacy that people can remember them for. I think that even the latest Buddha spill tells you about what people have been going through, that it continues, it's a process, it's an ongoing. And when I hear issues about artisanal refining, it has become the talisman that they wave at any oil spill in Ogoni. When, as we speak, even the Buddha spill tells you that these are equipment failures. I am not saying there's nothing called artisanal refining, but when they do happen, the complicity between the security agencies and those involved is such that the communities are powerless, and we must admit that. You don't expect the person to go and challenge someone with a gun and say that is what he's doing. And I know that law, both locally and internationally, puts responsibility to any person that is doing something that is dangerous to take steps to protect it from harming people.
Well,
so
fantastic.
If you put an oil pipeline that is going to be dangerous on my land, it's your responsibility to make sure that it does not damage me.
And I must thank you sincerely, Marcelo Ledometer. Thank you for joining us this morning, and Professor Philip Sekolo. Thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank this today. I apologize, Professor Sekolo. Our time is up. I apologize.
Money need to happen. HEPEP has not spent up to $100 million.
Okay, Professor Philip Sekolo, this is what we're going to do. There's opportunity to come and explain all of this, but time is just not going to allow us to go for that. But thank you again, Professor Philip Sekolo, and thank you again, Marcelo Ledometer, and thank you to our listeners. Point Blank will be back next Saturday, another edition and another guest.